Pop icon Britney Spears has once again sent shockwaves through her fanbase after declaring that she will never perform in the United States again, a statement that feels as definitive as it does emotional. For an artist whose career was built on sold-out American arenas, Super Bowl-level spectacle, and Las Vegas residencies, the remark signals a striking turning point in how Spears views fame, performance, and her relationship with the industry that shaped her. The comment, shared in her typically candid and unfiltered fashion, immediately ignited debate. Some fans read it as heartbreak talking, others see it as a hard boundary drawn after decades of pressure, control, and public scrutiny. Either way, the message was unmistakable. Britney Spears is done performing on U.S. stages, and she seems at peace with that decision. A career defined by performance and control. Britney's rise was inseparable from the American pop machine. From her breakout as a teen phenomenon to her reign as a chart-dominating superstar, the U.S. was the center of her professional universe. She performed on every major awards show, embarked on massive world tours, and became synonymous with Las Vegas spectacle through her wildly successful residency. But that same system also played a role in her well-documented struggles. For years, Spears has spoken openly about how performing often felt less like a choice and more like an obligation. Under the conservatorship that controlled much of her adult life, touring and residencies continued even as she privately wrestled with exhaustion, anxiety, and a lack of autonomy. In that context, her statement about never performing in the U.S. again lands less like a dramatic announcement and more like a personal reckoning. Freedom has changed the equation. Since regaining control over her life, Britney has repeatedly emphasized one thing above all else: freedom. Freedom to rest. Freedom to say no. Freedom to live without being constantly watched, judged, or directed. Performing in the United States, for her, appears to symbolize the era when she had the least control. American stages weren't just platforms for music, they were places where expectations were rigid, scrutiny relentless, and boundaries often ignored. The pressure to be on at all times, both on stage and off, took a toll that she's still processing. By declaring she'll never perform in the U.S. again, Spears seems to be reclaiming her narrative. It's not that she hates music or her fans, it's that she refuses to sacrifice her mental health to meet anyone else's expectations ever again. Fans react. Support, sadness, and understanding. The reaction from fans has been deeply emotional. For many, the idea that they may never see Britney perform live again, especially in her home country, is devastating. She's not just a pop star, she's a cultural touchstone whose music soundtracked entire generations. Yet, alongside the sadness is overwhelming support. Longtime fans recognize how much she's given over the years and how little she was allowed to keep for herself. Many see her statement not as a rejection of fans, but as an act of self-preservation. There's also a growing acceptance that loving an artist sometimes means letting them step away. Does this mean she'll never perform anywhere? Notably, Spears' wording focused specifically on the United States. That distinction has fueled speculation about whether international performances, or very limited, highly controlled appearances, could still be possible someday. However, even that remains uncertain. Britney has been clear that performing, in general, is no longer a priority. Her focus appears to be on living quietly, expressing herself on her own terms, and enjoying a life that doesn't revolve around rehearsals, contracts, or public expectations. If she ever does return to a stage, fans believe it would only happen if it felt joyful, safe, and entirely optional. Redefining legacy on her own terms. For decades, Britney Spears' legacy was shaped by charts, choreography, and box office numbers. Now, she seems intent on redefining it around survival, honesty, and autonomy. Saying she'll never perform in the U.S. again is a powerful statement not just about music, but about boundaries. It challenges the long-held assumption that artists owe the public endless access to their talent, regardless of the personal cost. Britney's catalog already speaks for itself. The hits, the influence, the impact, they're secure. What she's choosing now is something rarer in pop stardom: peace. The end of an era, and the start of something else. Whether this truly marks the final chapter of Britney Spears as a live performer in America remains to be seen. But what's clear is that she's no longer interested in compromising her well-being to satisfy nostalgia or industry demands. If she never steps on a U.S. stage again, it won't erase her legacy, it will complete it. Britney Spears has given the world more than enough. Now, she's choosing herself, and for many fans, that may be her most powerful act yet.